Shut up and sit down.
What is going on, dads, and welcome to episode 3 of the Dads After Dark Show, recorded on February 3rd, 2020. We're your hosts, Drew and John, and thank you for joining us tonight for some Nintendo and sweatpants. There's nothing like John after big Super Bowl Sunday. You had a lot of food, you just kind of want to lay around, put some sweatpants on, maybe some stretchy pants, and just chill, But John, how are you doing today? What is going on? What's new? What's going on this last week?
Hey, Drew. Yeah, Super Bowl was last night. I thought I'd be more depressed about the Chiefs winning. I'm a Broncos fan, and I really didn't want to see the Chiefs win. I read today, I didn't even realize that the last time a team in the Broncos division, besides the Broncos, to win a Super Bowl was 1983, the Raiders. So it's been a while. But in the last few months, my team's rivals have been winning championships. The Nationals, rivals of my Mets, and it's been a little depressing, I guess. So, but at least the Patriots didn't win the Super Bowl. Am I right?
Tom Brady did have a nice commercial, though. They can't have a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. There's some way they always have to find it in there, and they did, right? Even Hulu had to sponsor this one, but he was there. He did a nice little, Gillette Stadium type little not going anywhere hashtag, what you want to call it. But he was there.
I didn't love that commercial, but I did like the Smot Pock commercial, which has some Patriots roots, I guess. Did you see the Smot Pock?
Yeah, it just seemed like everyday life for me, John. I mean, I don't really know what you're talking about.
You didn't find it funny at all.
Well, speaking of that, perfect example. I'm at the I'm on the DMV. You guys have AAA, right? That's a nationwide thing.
Yeah.
So I'm at AAA this morning with all the blue hair women because they don't work. And I was there because I had to update my license to the Real ID thing. But same thing. I'm just standing like, this is such a Rhode Island thing to do, hanging out with all these old lady chits, giving them a little eye or wink or two. But that's how I spent my morning, was updating my license. I'll tell you what, I got in and out of there pretty quick, if you know what I'm saying. But that was my morning. I mean, did you do anything exciting today?
No, I've been working today.
Must be nice,
and honestly, my gaming life has been pretty bland. I feel like I've been playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions since the beginning of our podcast here. I'm still going at it. I'm over 40 hours into it now. And I've been switching on and off between that and doing a Blue Lions run on Fire Emblem. And I've just been going back and forth, and you're not playing really anything else except for like some Ring Fit and for Monthly Mayhem. So my gaming life has been kind of boring and bland, but you have a story about The Witcher, I hear.
Well, 2 stories. So
and a congratulations will be in order.
Well, yeah. So me and my little hottie tamale here, Tris Marigold, we hooked up. I'm not gonna lie. We I answered the questions correctly in The Witcher 3. We went to a nice little tower, and we got it on. There were some intense scenes. There was some nudity involved. I think I shared it with you guys. I may or may not have reloaded a previous save file to watch it again. I mean, that's none of your business, but I did, and it was exciting. I enjoyed it. So I pretty much don't need to play The Witcher 3 anymore because, that happened, and that was the whole point of me playing, to hopefully see that happen. But I don't know.
Chris just locked into just infinite sex with Drew because she's trapped in a video game.
I mean, the game's losing its touch for me, but I did finish the Netflix show today, this morning. Same thing. The show's great. Don't get me wrong. I thought the story was a little odd, I guess, or kind of went in a direction I wasn't expecting. But as much as I love everything Witcher, John, I think I need to leave it behind me. It's like that ex-girlfriend that you secretly still have a little bit for, but it's healthy if you just need to disconnect it from your life.
You're playing a long game. I mean, like you can enjoy it, but sometimes you feel like there's no end in sight. I know how you feel.
But with that, enough about me or you. Let's start talking more Nintendo. Let's move on over to some news items this week.
Got some big news. Let's do it. All right, we finally have some big news this week. I feel like it's been a while since we had any kind of like big news. We haven't had a direct, but this came over the wire last week, and I mean, it hit like a bombshell. We are, in fact, getting the Animal Crossing Switch bundle. And the thing looks amazing to me. I don't know what you think, but this bundle, it's unique. We've seen lots of different bundles, but this bundle has a dock that looks vastly different than the previous docks. All the docks have always been sort of that black color, and then just had some sort of printing on the front. Mm-hmm. This one has a white dock. It goes with a whole ocean theme. You see Tom Nook and his little what are they, grandkids? I think they're his grandkids.
I mean, I don't think we know much about it, right? I think that's the other part of it.
The kids are. I'm not that big into Animal Crossing, but Timmy and Tommy Nook. The whole thing has a beach scene. The Joy-Cons look amazing. It's this very light green and this very light blue.
Very pastel.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Easter.
It does. It is. It is spring colors. It's coming out in the spring. Nice cream.
Hey, John, did you know that it's coming out on my birthday?
Is it really?
It's a little birthday present to myself.
Oh, yeah. It's coming
out.
Not
the Switch, but probably the Jam.
Yeah. So it's got the cream rails and the backs of the Joy-Cons. They're like bicolor Joy-Cons. The backs of the Joy-Cons are actually cream as well. So if somebody was watching you play from in front of you, they'd see these cream Joy-Cons. And then if they were looking over your shoulder, they'd see the green and blue.
I mean, you're talking about cream and they're looking over your shoulder in front of you, John. I think we're talking about video games here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
So the rails have the cream color as well, and they have the matching tethers on there. It looks amazing. The back of the Switch, and we've seen this before, but has some decaling, a lot like the Pokemon one. So it has these tiny little Animal Crossing drawings. It looks amazing. I think it's the best Switch we've seen. I think it overtakes the Pokemon Switch, and clearly better than the Diablo Switch, which had some backing but didn't even have its own colors. So
we call that the tramp stamp of the Switch.
Yes, exactly. And it is lovely. My wife is actually going to get one, but that comes out
a tramp
March
stamp
13th.
Or the Switch?
No, well, I can't talk about the former, but she's definitely going to get the Switch. So
okay, that's just okay.
So it comes out. It's actually going to come out March 13th, which is a week before the game. So can't wait for that one to come.
What do you think of that, John? A week before the game comes out.
I don't really have a problem with it. I think they did this with the Smash Brothers bundle as well, and it came with the code for the game. This one doesn't, but you couldn't redeem that code until the game came out. But I really don't mind this one. Get it out of the way. I mean, people want this thing like crazy. So I don't know why they did it that way. You know, the thing I love about it is it doesn't come with the game. I've had this problem in the past where it comes with the game, but it's always digital. And I want the physical. And I could see where if they gave you the game physical, like in days past, you want it digital. So it allows me to buy this Switch, and then I get to decide, do I want a physical version of the cart, or do I want a digital version? Yeah, I do like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point there.
Yeah.
I'll give you a point for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it works out well. I'm excited for it, and I wish I had my own, honestly, but I'm not that big into Animal Crossing. I'm not even sure how much I'll play the game, but my wife is going to play it like crazy, so she's super excited for it, and can't wait.
And I think Nintendo made the right decision there, going with an OG Switch and not the Switch Lite. But, we'll talk about that another time. But let's move on to actually our first...
Whoa, what? What do you mean? What do you mean not the Switch Lite? I mean, I would have preferred this as a Switch Lite.
Stop that. Listen, everybody was talking about, where's the Animal Crossing Switch Lite? Rumor this, rumor that. Everybody wanted it. Why? I'll tell you what, John. The Switch Lite blows. It can suck an eggplant for all I care, because I don't get it. I don't get it. Dude, I don't get it.
Dude, the Switch Lite is, I mean, this would have been perfect for a Switch Lite.
John, let me give you a comparison. If an iPhone came out tomorrow and said, look at this awesome new iPhone, but you can't make phone calls with it, but we'll sell it to you for a little bit cheaper.
Oh my God.
The whole point of the damn Switch, it's called a Switch, is to switch it up.
Yeah, but most people don't even do the Switch anyway. I mean, most people are portable only. So, and then besides the fact, kids are going to play mostly portable only. Kids are getting the Switch Lite. which is $200. And I mean, this is kind of a big part of that market.
No,
So
it's
I
not
mean,
though. Just listen. Here's the problem, right? My brother. I'm gonna use this as a perfect example. No lie, this is a true story. I swear to God, I'm not just making this up. Yesterday, he calls me, sitting on my couch, 7:30 in the morning, having my coffee. He's like, Drew, listen, my daughter went to her friend's house. She had a Switch, and now my daughter wants one. My niece. He's like, I don't know anything about this. What can you tell me? He says, I thought there used to be like this handheld one, like an old school Game Boy. I was like, well, first of all, you're referring to the 3DS. I said, the Switch, you need to understand, it's $300, right? So what is your daughter looking to get out of it? He said, $300. He said, I don't know if I can invest that. I said, well, there's also something called the Switch Lite. He's like, well, what's that? I said, listen, there's the Switch, there's the Switch Lite, which is about $200, and then there's like a 3DS, which you can still get for like $80, maybe $100. And the difference is you don't have any newer games. I said, you don't want that. You don't want your daughter to get a 3DS. She'll be the non-cool kid, right? You gotta go with the newest stuff, the newest games. Your friends talking Animal Crossing, you say, oh, my dad got me a 3DS. You're the loser. You don't want that. So then he's like, all right, well, sell me the differences on the Switch Lite and the Switch. I said, well, let's be honest here. The big difference is that you can't really connect it to the TV. He's like, well, can the other one not be connected to the TV? I was like, oh, yeah, that's the whole point of it. He's like, so for $100, is it really worth it? I said, yeah, it is, because it's $100. And I know that's a lot of money to people, John, but it's $100 where 6 months from now, you might say, or you have your friends over, you want to play Mario Party. It's like you just threw all of that out the window.
But you're ignoring all the benefits of a Switch Lite, right? The Switch Lite, I mean,
there's no benefits.
You're saving. Of course, there's benefits, Drew.
No.
You're saving $100 for the Switch Lite, first of all. But secondly, if you've ever held one, the Joy-Cons connect to the main base. So when you're playing, you feel like it just feels like a much more solid piece of hardware. The Joy-Cons are improved on those as well. The buttons, if you've ever done a comparison, go to a Best Buy and press the buttons on they always have like a Switch and a Switch Lite out.
Of course.
Press the buttons. The Switch Lite buttons make like a popping sound when you press them. In fact, like when we're watching Netflix, my wife and I, and sometimes I'm playing a game, like I feel like I have to hit the buttons a little more gently because they make noise, especially during like quiet parts of a show.
Yeah, you don't want to
the Switch. Right, the Switch Lite has the buttons just have a smushier feel, the smushier sound. You get the D-pad on the left Joy-Con, and you get, I mean, it all fits in your hand better. There's less chrome around the screen. The screen's a little bit smaller, I'll give you that, and there's no rumble. But it's altogether just a better package than the Switch. It's not even close, honestly.
Well, let's be honest. From a kid's point of view, let's talk about this kids for a second, right? Let's say under the age of 12. I don't know. Do you think they give a shit about that? A D-pad, cooler buttons? No, they don't.
But I think they would care about the size of the Switch Lite in their hands, right?
Yeah, but would you tell what that it's almost identical size though? It's not that big of a difference. We're not talking.
You know what? I for 3 months I was playing on my Switch Lite, and then I recently switched back to the OG Switch for a while, and the thing feels huge. It's much heavier. You don't realize it until you kind of switch back. But I mean,
I don't know. I just think that it's $100 difference, right? We're not. Now, if Nintendo came out with some type of solution that was at $100 console, like even $150, maybe you're talking about half the price. But it's game changer. If you have friends over, which you're now limiting your use, that this is no longer a device or a video game system to really play with your friends. And don't give me the bullshit about, oh, you can put it on tabletop mode and go buy more Joy-Cons. Because now you're spending $70 on Joy-Cons and you're right back up to the original Switch toss. It's dumb. It's a dumb idea, John.
But you're not going to do tabletop mode with a Switch Lite. I don't know who's talked about this stuff. I mean, you could put it on a stand. You could get some other Joy-Cons for it, but that's really not the use of it. But I mean, Animal Crossing is only letting you have one island per device, and it's just made for a Switch Lite. I mean, that's just a game that's made for a Switch Lite. And I just think that they should have put it out on a Switch Lite. If they had to choose between the two, honestly, I would have taken both. But I feel like there should have been a Switch Lite for this one, and maybe save the Switch for a different device. Maybe that's just me. Maybe they do want to encourage multiple people kind of playing at one time, so maybe I can see why they put it on the TV. But to dismiss the Switch Lite as garbage that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It is the superior console to the Switch.
It's called smart marketing. But outside of that, as a consumer, it's not good. It's not. I mean, the the whole idea of, it goes back to Nintendo being famous for this. Let's create a 3DS and then remove the 3D feature. I mean, it's dumb, right? I mean,
But that was a reaction to people. They knew people were not using the 3D. They have analytics that get sent to them all the time, and they can see who's playing games in 3D, and they can see that people weren't using 3D. So that's why they were able to pull it out, save the money. That was a reaction of the consumer base. That one.
Maybe that's not the best.
And I guarantee you, when games are being played on a Switch, they have analytics coming to them saying what percentage of that time is being done on the Switch versus on just portable only.
Yeah, but that's a bad example.
I mean, they were going to do it for kids anyway, but that does give them feedback to say, hey, we can go handheld only. There's a market there.
That's a bad example, because I agree that I play handheld 80% of the time, but there's that 20% of the time that I want to play on my TV. I want to play with my kids. I want to play games like Mario Party. I want to play other games when I have friends over, where now I can't do that if I buy just a Switch Lite.
Yeah, but you're sending me screenshots of you banging the Witcher girl on your TV.
Well, John, I have kids. In
the room?
Wait, time out. Maybe I misunderstood your question there. Well, yeah, I did do that. Well, that was called Drew alone time. Okay. But I don't know. I don't understand the Switch Lite. I get it. I would like to see, honestly, and I know we'll never see these numbers, I would like to see the number of people that bought Switch Lite, and I bet you they're actually an older crowd, and it's more of those diehard Nintendo fans. I guarantee you, it's not for the younger kids.
I got 2 of my kids have Switch Lites. I mean, I wouldn't even consider getting the Switch. They can't lose the Joy-Cons. Yeah, they can't put the Joy-Con cover on backwards.
But John, they can go put that in the drawer and play on the TV with your other Switch. So that's a tough example. I'm talking about how many households buy just a Switch Lite.
I could see the Switch Lite being a good choice for parents of a kid, and the parents don't have interest in playing, and they just want to spend the $199 and give it to the kid. I mean, I can really see that as a big part of their market, but I couldn't back that up with numbers, just intuition.
I disagree. I think it introduces confusion, and it takes away from the original vision of what the Switch is. And I don't like it. I'm gonna be blunt. I don't like it. I don't like the confusion. Not for me, for consumers.
Well, you're just wrong, Drew. Anyway, that's the news. We don't have time anymore for the rest of the news because Drew's an idiot. So I think we're going to have to move on to our main topic. What do you think, Drew?
Let's do it. Let's move on.
All right, let's get into our main topic here. Drew, we're in 2020. We're already a month in. I think now's a good time as any to discuss what are we looking for from Nintendo in 2020. There's some things that are happening down the road. We know of a couple games that are coming out. Most notably, we know that there's Animal Crossing coming out in March. And we got some DLC. We've got some Pokemon coming. But we don't know too much else about what's there. So, Drew, I'm going to ask you this question to get us going here. What games do you really want to see come in 2020?
Well, I'm going to make this about the year of Mario, because there's a few Mario games out there that I want really badly that I have not yet seen. I think we had our 3D platformer, Odyssey, great game. We had our remakes of the new Mario, right, and Luigi. So we had one of each. I think now we need to start expanding to some of the other Mario franchises, and I have a few in mind. My first game that I need, don't just want, I need it, John, is a Mario Golf revamp of some sort. I want it all. I need it, because let's be honest, the 3DS one was good. Sure, it was fun, but I don't want to play 3DS. I want to play on my Switch. I want to play nice new graphics. HD stuff on the go. That's what I want. I want a Mario Golf. I want to be able to have monthly mayhem every single month of Mario Golf. I want to kick everybody's ass on Discord and take names.
That
That's
would
what
be
I want.
that would be a great mayhem game. I agree with you there. I'm gonna one up you, and I'm gonna go with the obvious to start off here. I want to see Bayonetta 3. 2 years ago, I was at one of my kids' plays, and I was in there. I came out, I turned my phone on, and there's like 18 notifications about Bayonetta 3 getting a teaser at the Game Awards. And I had some friends writing me like, "Did you see Bayonetta 3 teaser?" I watched that thing 1,000 times. And now 2 years later, I have not seen anything beyond that teaser. That teaser was weird, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the teaser, but like she falls apart. Her limbs fall apart at the end of that teaser. Watch it. So I want to know what's going on. And I want Bayonetta 3.
People talk about, hey, do you remember where you were during 9/11? Do you remember where you were during the Trump impeachment? No, John. Do you remember where you were during the Bayonetta 3 teaser announcement? Yes, John. You were at your kid's play.
I will never forget it. Never, ever, ever forget it. And I will never forget where I am when I watched the Bayonetta 3 official trailer. Whenever we freaking get it, I thought January was going to be the month. It sounds like whenever the next Nintendo Direct is, we're going to get it. I don't know when that Direct's going to be.
I hope you're like on the shitter in Best Buy or something. That way that will forever haunt you.
I'll be in the stall for an hour. But what else? What else, Drew? What other games are you looking for?
Well, let's stay on the Mario topic frame here. And I think this one's going to be a no-brainer as well. But let's get some Paper Mario action in here. I mean, I think this is definitely coming. I think this is overdue. I think you're talking about major sales. This is the one. And let's see a brand new, 1,000-year door type style Paper Mario.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. There's been rumors about it, but there's been rumors about directs coming out and a whole bunch of other crap. So I don't trust it anymore. But I would love another Paper Mario. And I didn't like Sticker Star. I was one of the same people that just really didn't enjoy Sticker Star. But I loved Color Splash.
I did too. Same way. I mean, Sticker Star Blue. Color Splash was great. I played the whole game. I beat it all. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, definitely loved it. So I'm ready for something new. I got another one. This one's getting kickstarted. Wonderful 101. One of the ports off of Wii U it would be, but just this week, Platinum announced a Kickstarter that's coming up for Wonderful 101. Kind of weird to see a big company like Platinum doing a Kickstarter. I'm not sure if it really fits like what Kickstarters should be, but it sounds like they really want to see who's interested in this thing, and they're not going to do it without some guaranteed sales. So I this might be the first time I ever do a Kickstarter, because I know I want to play this game and I just haven't had the energy to go play it on my Wii U downstairs. So this might be the first Kickstarter that I officially support. So I'm looking for Wonderful 101 in 2020.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess to stay on the Mario train, so that's kind of what I was thinking this year.
You love your Mario. You love your Mario, Drew.
I love Mario. Yeah, sure. Let's revise Mario Strikers, because I can't tell you how many fun times and fun memories with friends and how many hours I put into the GameCube version of Mario. You know what it is, John? I think GameCube in general for me is my most nostalgia, just because of the vast quantity of games I had and for that system. But Mario Strikers had the perfect controls for a soccer game. It was unreal, and it was like the perfect challenge as well, where with the difficulties and the way they did the modes, it was perfect. In the earlier stages you blew teams out, but once you get to the harder difficulties, it was like a good competitive game, and it was fun.
Oh man, now that you mention it, I totally forgot about that, but that might be my favorite sports game of all time. I love that game, and it was so fun. And it had a lot of replayability too, more than other sports games, because you could choose different teams of guys. Yeah. I think you had a main character, which of course you could pick a lot of different ones, but then you had 3 other characters, and the really cool part, it was you could pick 3 of one person, you could pick 3 different people, you could have all different strategies. Absolutely right. I love the GameCube version more than the Wii version. I can't remember why exactly.
Well, I think the Wii version introduced a little bit of motion controls, and it wasn't the same.
I have to say, I never won the title. I never beat the GameCube game. I got to
Oh,
I
did.
could get to, I could get to the title match, and then I would get slaughtered, and then that would like end your game. You didn't really get infinite amounts of time to try again.
You had to beat the robot guys, and if you
Yeah,
beat
and
them,
I
you
could
unlocked
not
them, I believe.
could not beat them. And then you'd have to go through the whole game again.
Those
I did
really
it like 2 or 3 times, and
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, the sidekicks were Toads, Koopas, Hammer Brothers, or Birdos.
Gosh, and when you would play it, you'd be like, oh, like the Koopas are the best, and then you'd get beat by some team that used somebody else. Then you're like, no, I want the Birdos now. Like that's the way to go.
I might have to reboot this game.
Oh
I might
man,
have to go
you're
grab
getting me into it. Even if they just ported over the GameCube version and did a remaster, I would be perfectly fine. There's really nothing you can do to make that game better.
I'll tell you what, though, the Wii version, for being so old, their online system actually wasn't terrible. You actually could play against people, and they kept stats. I mean, you put in some really good players, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I ever used it or not.
I did. I played it quite a bit. Hey, same concept. Remember the Mario Sluggers baseball game had the same thing? You could pick all the different players.
I didn't like it as much as the soccer, but I agree. They do a really good job with those Mario sports games.
They do.
Yeah. I've got another couple indie games that.
Yeah, let's hear them all. Let's just go rapid fire here.
I gotta say, I've been waiting for this game. It feels like forever. Every time someone mentions it, and it's appropriately named, it's Super Meat Boy Forever. I think we've been waiting for over like a year and a half on this thing. I thought it was coming out in 2019, at least early 2019. I think a few weeks ago they said Super Meat Boy Forever is coming out in 2020, and they are bragging that it is going to be awesome. So it just froths me at the mouth even more. I loved Super Meat Boy. It's one of my favorite games ever. I played it was the first game I ever played on an Xbox 360. I literally bought a used Xbox 360 so I could play Super Meat Boy and so my son could play Castle Crashers. And right after I bought it, I think they eventually did release it on the Wii U, Super Meat Boy. But that game was just so good. And then when the Switch came out and then they announced Super Meat Boy was being ported to the Switch, I double dipped and I played through it again. I beat the whole game. And I'm trying to 100% it. I haven't gone to it in a while, but every so often I go back to it, and I really want to 100% that game. It is just balls hard. But that's what makes it so glorious. I mean, you've got to go through like 20 different levels, and then you have to do the dark levels, and then you have to find all the band-aids, and you have to find all the warp points.
I'm excited. I never played it. I'm excited, and good. I hope it does come out soon.
Yeah,
good Mayhem game.
Definitely. Oh, Super Meat Boy Forever, I think would be a perfect Mayhem game. And then another one, I mean, like, I'm just waiting for it. I can't believe it's not out yet. Silk Song, the sequel to Hollow Knight. I didn't love Hollow Knight. I hated it the first time I played through it. And then the second time I actually got through it, I was like, okay, it wasn't as bad. There's definitely some issues, but it was fun.
I give you credit for those games. I do give you credit because you fight through. You fight through the games that suck. Touche to you.
I got asked about it this week, and what it really comes down to is that every video game you play, no matter how much you love the game, is going to have parts that are just going to be bad. There's going to be like story parts that just drain you. And if you quit, you're going to miss really cool stuff. So you just have to get through it. So I'm looking forward to Silk Song. I think they're going to fix a lot of the issues of Hollow Knight. It looks great. My wife's just dying for Silk Song now. I can't wait for that one. Do you have any other ones you're looking at? Because I've left off the big one.
Well, no, I kept it at those for now. Because there's other games I'm going to talk about a little bit later that would kind of fall into this topic, but I don't want to spoil them.
Okay. Well, I want to just talk about the big one. And Bayonetta 3 is obviously the game I've been looking forward to the most for like years now. But we know that's coming. At some point it's coming. They're not going to cancel it. But the one that I want more than any, it's a port, but I want this game. I played through this game. It is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. The Tomb Raider 2013 reboot, the first of the 3 that are out now.
Really?
I want this game on Switch so bad. To this day, I will still say the first 20 minutes of that game are like the most fun 20 minutes I ever had. It is amazing looking. I love the new Lara Croft character. I love the Uncharted games, and I think that Tomb Raider blew it away. I played through that game. I did a lot of it. I did some of the optional stuff. I did not 100% it. I really would like to. And so I'm kind of waiting for a Switch version to try to 100% it. I really want to play it. It's so good. Have you played it? Have you played through that game?
No, I'm a Nintendo guy only.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. If it comes out to Switch, I mean, without a doubt, you have to play Tomb Raider.
Sounds like I have to, as long as it's not a 300-hour game.
It's so good. And one of the weirdest things about Tomb Raider that still drives me crazy, when I was a kid, I owned a 3DO. I was the only one that had a 3DO. And I remember really consciously, even back then, going, this is like a crummy system or whatever. And actually, when I turned it on, it would smell and whatever. But I have some weird associations with the 3DO. And the thing that just every time I talk about Tomb Raider comes to my head is it was made by Crystal Dynamics. And you're probably not familiar with Crystal Dynamics, but
Nope.
They eventually took over the Tomb Raider series previous to the reboot. They've been working on Tomb Raider games for a while. But anybody who had a 3DO or is a collector now knows Crystal Dynamics did a lot of games for the 3DO. And the first game that they ever released was a game called Crash and Burn. And I would say almost everybody that had a 3DO had Crash and Burn because it was just one of the bigger games that they advertised early on. And it was such a piece of shit game. It was a car racing game. The graphics were, I mean, like the frame rate was low and it was just awful to control. And they ended up doing some other games with the 3DO. The Horde, if you remember, I think it's the one with Kirk Cameron in it. They did the Horde. They did some space shooter game type stuff. But man, Crystal Dynamics was a terrible game developer. They were awful.
That Army Men game for that. I think I had that on the early PC days.
I don't know if they did that one, but they did a lot of games that were just not great. I mean, they weren't awful, but they weren't good. And Crash and Burn to me was just terrible. And it just drives me crazy that this is the same company, and admittedly, it's like 25 years later that's doing the Tomb Raider series that I love so much. And the best thing about the Tomb Raider series right now is I haven't played the third one yet. I own it. I just haven't gotten the time to play it. I have to play it on my PS4, but I just can't wait to get to it. I'm gonna take some time off of work to try to get through that one. But that is the game that I want more than any.
Interesting. Didn't see that coming.
I got some other questions for you though. Let's move on to this now. The PS5 and the Xbox One X Series X, whatever they call it.
Sure.
Those are going to get released holiday of this year. I don't know if they have confirmed dates, but we know they're coming out in the holiday of this year.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you see Nintendo doing to combat that?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they're going to do something special, or do you think they're just going to be Nintendo? Do you think they're lining up a game to compete with it?
I think twofold. I think they're just being Nintendo and they're going along with their original plan, right? I don't think they're doing anything to try to, directly compete, right? I don't think they ever have, to be honest.
I don't think they are.
But that doesn't mean that a big, game doesn't come out the holiday season, right? I mean, weird. We kind of almost didn't really have that game this year, right? I mean, I know Pokemon's a huge game and whatnot, right? But we didn't have that other early December-ish time frame one, right? So,
well, yeah, but I mean, Pokemon sold 16 million copies.
Oh,
so I think
and I'm not taking away from that. 100% agreed. They want it, but here's a question for you: what if they did have another big Mario or something, Nintendo game? What would that have done to Pokemon? Would it have reduced those numbers? Did people play Pokemon because there was nothing else to play? And that sounds silly, right? Because there's a million things to play, and people are still catching up from their backlogs. But would it have? Is that why Pokemon did so good? Is the better?
No, I mean, it literally came out less than 2 weeks after Luigi's Mansion. So I know what you're saying, and there's a lot of people that if they bought Pokemon, they wouldn't be able to maybe buy a game in early December or whatever, or at least not like a AAA title. I don't think Nintendo has to do anything. I think they will have a big holiday release title, but I think they do that anyway. So
let me
I
ask
don't
you this:
know if it's specific.
What is that big holiday release title to distract the competition?
I think it's going to be Breath of the Wild 2. I think Breath of the Wild 2 will be the holiday game this year. I think they've been working on it. Some people say, they only just started working on it, blah, blah, blah. They've been working on it since they released in March of 2017.
Agreed.
You're looking at going to be 3.5 years on from that game, I mean, when they're building out Breath of the Wild, they know a sequel is coming. They know it
Oh,
at that
so
point.
they've been
So
probably building the game. You're right, for 7 years.
yeah, it would be insane not to have a Breath of the Wild 2, but like to have it go more than 4 years after Breath of the Wild, I mean, we didn't see a teaser. When we saw the Breath of the Wild trailer, we didn't see a teaser. That wasn't a Metroid Prime 4 thing. The designer of that Metroid Prime 4 teaser said, "Oh yeah, I did it in a day, well, not even a day."
Yeah.
This was a cutscene we saw. This is a
Oh, you're right.
cutscene. This is established story. This wasn't something special they put together. So I think
So
we're going to see that
I
at
agree
launch.
with you. I think I'm going to say that's a very good percent chance of happening based on what we just said. But to throw something else out there to be a little bit different, I think it's time. I think it's finally time to have a Mario Kart 9. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think that not having DLC on the Switch for that game is an interesting choice, but it also makes me wonder why. If that
Good
many
question.
people have the game, why not come out with a DLC for $5? Hell,
It's their
$3.
It's their number one seller. Yeah, I mean, if you do like a $10 DLC, you can make a ton. Let me ask you this: do you think that Mario Kart 9 is done? There is a theory going around that Mario Kart 9 is done. It's like a movie where it's in the can and they're only waiting because they're waiting for a release date. They're waiting for the summer. They're waiting for but the movie's done, right? Sometimes they delay games and they're done because they don't want to release it in
that's an
the same
interesting
time frame
concept
as another
because
big game.
I think in the video game world that actually doesn't happen that often, right? Where they do have that, it's usually the other way, right? Where there's some hiccup or some issue that makes it get delayed, which we talked about all last episode too, right? But is it done?
I mean, are they what I'm saying is, are they looking at sales of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and waiting for them to kind of slip a little bit? They don't want to release Mario. I mean, it would be insane to release Mario Kart 9 when you're still selling 1 million copies a month of Mario
See,
Kart
here's
8.
my
Why
problem
on
with
earth
that.
would you do that?
Yes and no, right? Because let's say you put out a trailer or something like in this site, a direct that's going to be in February, and say it's coming out in June or it's coming out the end of the year, whatever. Or you just said 2020. For all the people that are still buying Mario Kart, I have to guess aren't diehard Nintendo fans that would even know that there was a trailer out there for 9. So I don't think if you put a trailer out for 9 that would really hinder your sales today.
Yeah, but if you put a trailer out for 9 and it's going to come out in 3 months, then yeah, it'll hinder those
I'm not
it'll
sure it would,
hinder
Judd,
those
because
sales
I think
in
the
3 months.
people I think the people buying 8 today are those non-avid Nintendo people, right? I think it is the moms and the grandparents or the dads or the people like my brother who don't really know much about it that are buying it for their kids, a birthday or something. I don't think it's people like me or you or people listening to podcasts or looking at Nintendo on the internet are the ones that haven't bought 8 yet. So I don't know how much by putting some information out there is really going to hinder your sales.
Yeah, I'll just say that if they do put out Mario Kart 9, I don't think Mario Kart 8 will be on the sales racks anymore. I don't think they have it done or in the can, but I do think they're working on it, and I think as long as it sells, I mean, they don't need to put out a 9. As long as it sells, it doesn't make sense. That's why Sony didn't make a PS5 until sales of PS4 started to dwindle. So
I mean, I get it from the business point of view, but at the same time, that's like saying, why make the sequel to the movie because we're still selling it? I don't know. I think that's.
Yeah. I mean, would you put a sequel to a movie that was still in theaters selling crazy tickets? I mean, that doesn't happen because they don't last that long in theaters, but I mean, it wouldn't make sense.
I'd rather continue the high than hit a low and then try to get that high back up. Sometimes, I don't know. That's me.
Are we still talking about video games?
A little bit of both.
All right, Drew, listen up. We're going to play a little game that we're going to call Drew's Crystal Balls. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to give me a quick answer. I want you to let me know what you think of each of these. There's 4 questions. Let's see. We're gonna record these down and see if your predictions come true. And we're gonna know. Can you prognosticate? We're gonna test your mettle here, Drew.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
Drew. So I'm going to ask you the question that you asked me. Is Breath of the Wild 2 going to be released in 2020?
Wow, that's a hard question now that there's this pressure on. Um, yes.
You say yes.
I
Would you
don't want
say
to, but I don't know. Did you talk me into it?
would you I presume you would think that's the holiday game?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Uh are we going to see an announcement for a Pikmin 4 in 2020? Not a game release, although we could. Will we see at least an announcement for Pikmin 4 in 2020?
Gives a shit. But no, we will not.
No, all right. It really does beg the question, what else is coming from Nintendo after Animal Crossing? There's got to be something in there. Like you said, it could be a Mario Golf, but
I think
gotta be something.
logistically, besides Animal Crossing, there has to be 3 more games from Nintendo coming out in 2020.
Absolutely.
Big games too. I'm not talking about.
All right. So now here's a question for you. If you're talking about 3 games coming out, what is their E3 booth going to look like in June?
Um,
It's going to have a main theme. They always have a main theme, right?
yeah, I think I'm going Breath of the Wild because of the. Let's be honest, we don't know of anything else right now besides Breath of the Wild 2. That is pretty much the only thing that we know about outside of Animal Crossing, right, John? What do we really know that it's big titles from Nintendo
We don't.
that are confirmed.
So do you think that they would do, because they don't reveal their booth until their announcements are done. Do you think their booth will be Breath of the Wild because they're going to announce Breath of the Wild 2 at E3? That's what you're saying?
Well, I think they usually have a direct before that where they might have. I don't know.
No, I see. You think they might announce it beforehand, not wait for E3, but
I think they might announce it beforehand and then provide a lot more info. Like maybe do like a minute and a half trailer and then have all the info at E3.
okay, all right.
Because let's be honest, I think they learned with their mistake about Metroid, right? So they posted the Metroid thing, the whole fiasco happened, and then it got delayed several years, right? And that wasn't all their fault, right? They were working with developers. However, that all happened right prior to their E3 announcement of Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
They would not have made that same mistake after just fucking it up with Metroid.
Right, exactly. And when they announced Metroid, when they showed that teaser, I mean, that was all it was just a teaser some designer put together. They had probably just barely started, probably similar to the Bayonetta teaser, even though the Bayonetta one was deeper. So I think you're right. I mean, they're not going to jump in too soon. I think they're much further along with a Breath of the Wild 2.
But you got to remember, too, Breath of the Wild 2 teaser trailer was already 7 months ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that far, but it was.
Yeah. That's a long time.
I mean,
I'm excited.
So, all right, yeah.
I'm excited.
There. Yep.
All right. Well, what do you say, Drew? They have 3. You said there's supposed to be 3 games. And you're saying Breath of the Wild 2 for the holiday. So name me one game you think will come after Animal Crossing. The first one that you think will come out after Animal Crossing. I'll let you guess a couple of them. Give me a couple of options.
Well,
what comes up after the March game?
I'm going to go back to my earlier question and statement because it is a want, but I think it is a realistic chance of it will be a Mario game of some sense, and I am leaning towards if someone said pick one or else, I'm thinking it would be a Paper Mario title. I think that is coming for like an August release.
Okay. I think you might be right. There's been rumors, whatever, stock we put in that.
And you know what? Back to that point, though, I could also see a nice little Paper Mario booth at E3.
Oh my God, that'd be cool. That would be cool. I would like that. I would love all the decorations in my room. I think.
So you got to think about what's a little bit for everybody, right? So Mario and Zelda are 2 big ones, right? Mm-hmm. Now, where would you go after that? You know, you could go the Pikmin way, which I don't think is happening, like I've already said.
I think Pikmin's coming. I actually think Pikmin's gonna come. I think we'll get a Pikmin release.
Say what you want about me, but I don't know if enough people care.
I think you're right. I don't know if it's going to be the big giant seller smasher, a Mario game would
So,
be, but I think you'd be looking at like what Luigi's Mansion does in terms of
well,
sales,
no,
right?
I disagree. I disagree. And
Less?
I think 2020 right now needs to be a big year with PlayStation coming out and Xbox whatever coming out. I think they need some big titles here, and I don't think Pikmin is big enough to do that. I
Mhm.
don't. They need stuff on the system right now that is gonna wow people.
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest, when's the last time a Pikmin game came out?
Oh boy, that was probably soon after the Wii U. So just off the top of my head, maybe 2013, 2014, I guess.
So
It is
think
that
about
time
that.
frame.
6 or 7 years, whatever, right? How many people are new Nintendo Switch players that wouldn't even know what that is? Everyone
But
knows Mario, everyone knows Zelda, everybody knows Mario Kart, everyone knows those things. So if you want to have a big year to compete with those other people, Pikmin is not the answer.
yeah, but I mean, I think you don't. I mean, you could look at Pikmin 3 and go, "Wow, that looks really fun. Like that looks really good." And maybe they can make it a little bit of a reboot since it looks like it came out in mid 2013. So we're looking at 7 years, and you can make it a little bit of a reboot. It doesn't have to have a continuing story. And I think it would have a pretty good market. I think it's one of those games that everybody can play. Men, women, boys, girls.
Huh. Well, we don't discriminate, John.
Well, I'm just saying is I think
I
everybody could play a game like that. I mean, that's obviously
yeah,
Nintendo Fair, but
I mean,
I think there's a lot of zealots who really want it too. So you're gonna get them to hype it
but
up
I
like
think I
crazy.
think that's what Animal Crossing does this for 2020.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing is that game for 2020. How many of them do you need is my point.
Yeah. I need Pikmin though. All right, let's move on to some questions we were getting from our audience. What do you
Here that are kind of all over the board. Let's start with the first one from Cat Janitor, a good pal over there. He kind of asked us about name your top 10 favorite RPGs. I did 5, John, because let's be honest, that's what I did. And I went more with favorite franchises than actual games, so that might really add a couple each one.
Oh wow, so you just like half-assed this all the way.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I could give you specific numbers of each game if I wanted to.
Well, I'm curious to hear your list here. Let's see what you got.
You want me to start off all 5?
Let's hear it. Let's go. Are they in order or not in any particular order?
They are in order.
Okay, let's hear them. I want to hear it from the fifth to the first.
All right, I think you're only going to be shocked by number 1.
Okay.
By number 5 coming in is Darksiders. Specifically, I guess Darksiders 2. But if you've never played Darksiders, it's an amazing kind of open world type game. I'd almost want to kind of compare it to not Breath of the Wild, because that's a hard thing to say.
Yeah.
But it's a Zelda-ish like game where you get upgrades that open up new areas of the world. There's some platforming skills involved. It's a hack and slash. You have some cool type of weapons and some skills and magic, but really fun. I love the gloominess atmosphere. I love those type of games, similar to The Witcher. So that stuff always kind of draws me right in.
Okay.
Number
4.
Well, hold on here. My list is weird. Well, yes, but correct. Number 4 would be correct. Number 4 is going to go and be Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles. These ones
The
are
second
tough.
one,
Well,
right? Specifically. Oh no, you played X. That's right.
X was just as good, so I don't want to pick one over the other. They were both different in their own ways. But yeah, Xenoblade is an awesome game where for some reason you get attached to the story. It has like a little bit of fun humor involved. The game mechanics, they always try to be unique and a little bit different, which I really like. So Xenoblade Chronicles, both X and 2, were both fascinating for me.
Yeah, Poppy the sex robot is pretty quirky.
He was awesome. Number 3, let's throw out there Paper Mario, because we already talked about it enough. But Paper Mario is one of those games that's absolutely an RPG kind of in my way, just which way you look at it. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it is, right? Because you upgrade your hearts or your flower power stuff. and attacked and stuff like that. So it's definitely one of those games, like we talked about, all of them were fantastic games, but Thousand Year Door specifically, so many memories about in the casino and going to get all the different badges and then turning purple to combine badges and a lot of fun memories there as well.
That is so good, that one.
My number 2 most fun, best RPGs for me, again, this might not be like I ranked them as the best, but the most fun that I have is going to be, you're going to like this one, John, Diablo. Because I think John and I, for all those listeners that don't know, I think Diablo is kind of what gave us our friendship that we have today, right? In a way where, we were kind of buddies before that we met on Discord and through the Nintendo Dads, but I think Diablo, we probably put 50 hours all, together playing that game with a lot of voice chat.
We played a ton. I had a blast playing it.
Me too. So I think that gives me a lot of that fun. I love video games that I can play with people. I think that is what it comes down to. For me, that's what is fun. Don't get me wrong, everyone likes a nice solo video game, but when you can play with other people, it's a blast. And Diablo is such a well-made game. I mean, look at Blizzard. Obviously, you can get the best of the best from them, and it's an amazing game. I all the way back to the memories of when I used to play Diablo 1 and 2 on the PC. Just absolute blast playing with people.
Nice.
So, shock in the world here, because it hasn't been on a Nintendo system since GameCube. And I wish every single Nintendo Direct, every time I search it, I see something that says it's coming to Nintendo. And it never does. I've given up hope, John. But this series, I've probably put hundreds and hundreds of hours into with my buddies back in the day. And I'm talking about Gauntlet Legends Dark Legacy.
Oh.
There are quotes from that game that me and my buddies still say to each other. Like every time you pick up an apple or food, they say, food is good. And there's just so many funny little comments they make. And I remember there used to be hours and hours. We used to go farm the spider boss just to get experience points. So then we could go level up more. And there was unlockables. And it was such a fun, cool game and a fun hack and slash game where we played in the arcades together. We played in person together. And I wish they could somehow find a new game to bring over to the
I could see it coming.
Switch.
I can see it coming.
It essentially is a Diablo type like game in a way, more cartoony graphics, but absolute blast. Love the series.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head if we've seen a lot of games that, like Wargroove that captured the magic of game, Advance Wars and things like that. But do we have a Gauntlet? If you wanted to play Gauntlet?
We do, John. And you want to know what it's called and want to know why I picked it up and this is going to make so much sense to you? Torchlight. Torchlight is somewhat similar to the Gauntlet ways in a way. It's a little different, but as far as the graphics go and the gameplay style, it's 100% similar to the way Gauntlet Legends were laid out. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, then of course you could think back to the old school NES Gauntlet, right? Gauntlet and then Gauntlet 2. We've all played those. Those are hard.
Yeah. I really like the classic. I want to see something made that looks just like it with better graphics. I'd be curious, but I'll check out Torchlight 2 and see.
Yeah.
I've got my top 10 RPGs, and I went through this list. It's in order. It's really hard, but I tried to go in order of like my willingness to play them again. And I really love shorter RPGs. I really don't like the long RPGs, but you'll see that I've got a few longer ones on this list. Yeah. And I'll start at number 10, and it's a game that you mentioned too, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Absolutely love that one. It's my favorite Paper Mario. It's been forever since I played it. It was a game I only played one time. I wouldn't mind a remake of it, but that one's my number 10. It's my favorite Paper Mario game. Number 9 is a game I'm playing right now, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. It has already cracked my top 10. And the thing I love about this game is I love every character in this game. A lot of times when I play games with parties, there'll be some guy I don't care about or 3 or 4 or whatever. I love everybody. And in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, you have these side stories that you do, like, just side quests.
Yeah.
And they're like really valuable, and they're definitely ones you should do. But I love doing them. Like, you find out about the character, they learn about themselves, and then they grow. And it's just, I just love this game so much. And I can definitely see myself playing it again in the future. But right now, I said I'm 40 hours in, and yeah, it's already there on my list, number 9. Number 8, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Really love that game as well. I really would like to do another replay at some point, maybe this year or next year. Definitely didn't 100% it. The side quests I thought were dreadfully boring. And that kind of killed it a little bit, but I would love to kind of get back into this game, replay it, try to get all the blades, try to do, all the side questing and all that stuff. Maybe I'll just pick up my save file and, spend an hour of pain to get back into it. But yeah, Xenoblade 2 is my number 8. Number 7, this is very close to my heart. It came up on the dinner table as well. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. This was the first RPG for Mario and Luigi. I love this game so much, I bought a sealed copy of it a few years back that I keep sealed. Really love this game. And I actually played the remake on 3DS last year. One of the few times I went back to my 3DS in the Switch era, just to play through it. They had some extra content as well I was going to go through, but then I didn't really fall in love with it. But yeah, I really did like the remake. They did a really good job. I went back and played a little of the original and realized how much better the remake was. So that is my number, what is that, 7? Number 6 is another game I played recently, Dragon Quest XI S. I know you played that one a ton too. We both loved it. I hit the credits on this thing and I just kept going and going and going into the 90-hour range. There might still be a few things left to do. But man, I did a ton of it and I went through all of the post-game content. At some point in the future, I might come back to this and try to scrape up some side quests and finish off little things. But man, I did a ton of it. So I love this game. I can't say enough great things about it. It's a little linear. It's definitely a little linear, but it's just so much fun. You really get to love the characters, and it's great. Awesome. My number 5 is Child of Light. This has always been just near and dear. Is it's my favorite Vita game, and
talked about this a lot.
I really love Child of Light, and it's not so long, and it's just got awesome visuals and awesome audio, and it's just got this storybook feel, and they talk in poetry. It is just so good, and you can really complete the whole thing in 20 hours. I just love games like that. So Child of Light is my number 5. Number 4, Bravely Default. I don't know what else to say about Bravely Default. I've always gushed over Bravely Default. I've played through this game twice, and I started a third as well. I ran out of time on it, but it's just so good. And I love RPGs that are simple. I don't like RPGs that are like overly complicated. I don't, and this game is, I think it's like a 30 to 40 hour game. But it's just so good. The characters are so good. And the way they do the job classes, you can pick any job classes you want. You can switch them around. They make it really easy to level up in them once you've switched. So it's not like you're not motivated to switch your job class because they're all super wimpy.
I hate the RPGs that make you like when you have decisions to make and you're like kind of nervous, like, oh man, this might affect the next 100 hours of my game. I hate that.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, there's definitely, as you play, there's very obvious job classes you have to pick. But once you get in the middle of the game, you can start switching them around and you catch up, you level up on them really, really quickly. So I love that game. The second game was not as good. But there was also a demo for like the middle of the first and the second game that I never played through. I really want to, but Bravely Default, great. Number 3 is kind of a tie, Bloodborne and Diablo 3. The reason why I made them a tie, the reason why they tie is because we had this discussion in the group. I'm not sure if they are RPGs as you would define them. So I thought it was only fair to put them in at third place as a tie. Bloodborne is my favorite Souls game. It's so good. I wish they would make a port, but on the other hand, I wish they'd keep it.
As if you have a character that you can upgrade either stats, equipment, or the
we are not gonna get into this again, but no, you are right. You are right. It is hard to classify a Diablo or a Bloodborne in the same as like Child of Light or Bravely Default. So, but if I combine them together, then they are. So there you go.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Diablo. Yeah. Number 2, Breath of the Wild. Maybe it's weird that it's not number 1. Some people don't consider this an RPG as well, but I do. So this is my number 2. Yeah, I can see it both ways. But clearly this is a big, long game where you're trying to power up and it got a great story. It's my number 2. My number 1 is easy. It's the one that brought me into what is probably my favorite franchise in the world now, Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. My favorite RPG of all time. It's obviously a turn-based strategy. You can argue if it's an RPG, but man, this game's incredible. You can play it an infinite number of times. You can pick different characters to really like level up to see how far they can go. The cutscenes in Fire Emblem Awakening are unbelievable. The art direction that they did with them, it's just incredible. I love this game. I could play it over and over and over and over. And easily my favorite Fire Emblem game. Three Houses is great, and Three Houses might end up on this list someday. But Fire Emblem Awakening is something special. It's more concentrated on the battling, which I really like. Three Houses has a lot of the, other stuff that really makes the game kind of last longer. But this is the perfect Fire Emblem game of all time, and yeah, that's my number one RPG.
Interesting.
We got some other questions, Drew. Let's go through these real quick. But Hey Presto says, if you could make any game, what would it be and why? And I assume like you're making the game. So what would you make, Drew?
I didn't even put anything down here. It's not that I didn't think about it. I don't value Hey Presto's question. Thank you for asking it, but I don't have an answer here. It's not that I'm a not creative guy. It's just that's what people do for a living. They make the games. I get to choose what I want to play. I don't really have a good answer here. What about you? Let's start with you. Maybe I'll think of something.
One thing I've always wanted to find the time for is RPG Maker. And I've always wanted to make an RPG based on my Denver gaming group. There's a lot of personalities and people that have been in the group for years and years and years. And, over 5-6 years of interacting with them, they have such distinct personalities that I think would be perfect for an RPG. And it's a collector's group of retro games. So I just think you can just build a whole plot line around it. Like somebody wants to be like the king of retro games. And maybe you have to go around and collect, these 8s. You got to find all the great one. You need just all the greatest video games in collecting history and get them all together and go through a story that involves all the people in the group. So I've always wanted to do it, but I know that the scale that I'd love to go through would be, one of those things where you're like, I'm going to make this massive game. And then like, you just immediately like quit doing it because you really have to kind of do these things gradually.
All right, I like it.
But I don't have the time to make it. So unfortunately, it'll probably never get made. Maybe I'll do like a smaller one with like some of the Nintendo Dad's crew.
Good answer.
But I'd love to do it.
That's cool. All right, so I thought of one because I've always wanted this. Then you kind of read me a bell when you started saying that. So every time Nintendo announces that they're making a new mobile game or something, I think perfectly for this is I want a Nintendo, Mushroom Kingdom type themed like tower defense game. There's nothing better than a fun little tower defense game. But let's make it all like Nintendo related. You know what? Why limit it to Mushroom Kingdom? Even if you like reached out to Hyrule and some of the other IPs, even the Donkey Kong world, and I think it'd just be super. There's so many elements that you could bring into it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that's what I want.
Maybe they'll get into it. Yeah, that's really interesting. Cool.
Now we do have a third question here, John. Very important one.
This is a very important question. This comes from Cat Janitor again. Does anyone else always pee in a stall and not a urinal because you hate having to keep your pants up while whipping out your schlong?
Very direct. Very direct.
It's very direct, but you know what? It's perfect for our show. And I will say my answer is I won't say I always pee in a stall, but I definitely pee more in a stall now when I'm at work because it gives me a little bit of time to dabble on my phone. I use a work laptop, so I don't have all my socials on there. So I might go through and see what's going on in the world, catch up with my email, all that sort of thing. I don't always do the urinal, but I don't always do the stall, but yeah, I definitely do spend more time. And I will say too, at my office, a lot of times you walk into the bathroom and both stalls are taken, and I guarantee you there's just a lot of people on their phones. So it's a big problem. So we should encourage urinal use here on the show.
We should encourage that. So I read this question. I think of like 1,000 more questions. That's how my mind works. But to answer your question, I'm a urinal guy. I'm in and out. When I have to pee, I want to pee. I gotta get out. I gotta go. I'm a busy guy when it comes to work. But with that being said, I have like 1,000 other questions that I could ask you right now.
Mm.
One, when you go to the urinal, are you an unbuckle the belt guy, unbutton and unzipper, or do you just unzipper the pee hole and whip it out? Because I've seen both, and I never understood do the whole belt. It just seemed like a lot of work.
I unbutton, I unzip. I don't pull my pants down, but I'm definitely not just the pee hole guy.
Really? What if you have a belt on?
I don't wear belts. No, I don't wear belts. If I had to wear a belt, I would undo the belt.
What?
Yeah, I would undo the belts.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not pulling my shirt out or anything like that, but I'm gonna undo the belt and unzip it.
That's the whole point of a guy having, the zipper.
No, I understand that, but I just need a little space. I'm not trying to aim, and then it's hard to pull back without getting your pants wet. So
I
think
see
it
the
makes it a little
pullback
easier.
issue.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
Have
tricky,
you ever seen? I've seen this. Have you ever seen the people that have like gym shorts on that pull up the leg short and go that way?
Oh God, no! I have not. First of all, why are you watching them?
I'm not watching. It was a conversation one time I had with the guys. It's a guy thing.
Okay, so they mentioned. So did somebody actually say that's what they were doing?
People say they've done that. I'm like, that's no chance.
Wow.
Seems bold. Bold. All right, last question.
Yeah, there's no way. That's crazy.
The unwritten rule of the urinal buffer. How do you feel about it? Do you break code?
I do not. No, I always try to put at least one urinal between me and the other person. But if there's a bunch, yeah, I mean, I think I have really good bathroom etiquette. Courtesy flushes. Mm-hmm. I kind of do it all. I don't talk to people in the bathroom.
How about people that answer the phone?
Yeah, I don't know how.
Do you text while you're peeing? Do you do little social media searching while you're peeing at a urinal?
At a urinal? No way. No, those people
do it. People do it.
Yeah,
they just stand there. It's like they forgot that they're peeing. They're just, I'm just going to check my social media when I'm taking a leak. I'm like, you're at a fucking urinal. Get in and out.
Yeah, no way. No way. Yeah, like you said, people drop their phones in urinals and bathrooms all the time. It's not that hard, people. They're just the unwritten rules. You just got to follow them.
I agree. Well, Kat Janitor, thank you for this stem of questions about, I don't even know, taking a piss, but thank you.
Thank you, Kat Janitor. All right. I think it's time to get out of here. What do you say?
I think it is. I think we want to thank the Nintendo dads for letting us host this pretty cool show. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we're the cool dads who get to do a little bit of raunchy stuff, right? And you can listen to us pretty much by subscribing to us now, right? So that's the big thing I do want to talk about. We are on our new feed. So now that we're on our own feed, make sure to go into iTunes or wherever you're listening to. If you can, give us a rating or a like or whatnot. Tell some friends. Hopefully spread the word of this super cool thing we're doing. Again, that's on like Castbox, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. We're pretty much everywhere you can find us. And if you are a Nintendo Dad's patron, make sure you come over to our own Discord channel at the Dads After Dark and also the monthly Mayhem channels, which we both run. So we can definitely get you on there, get excited, talk about it, and be sure to go find us on our other episode that we will be releasing this week about monthly Mayhem, the new exciting thing. The last thing I want to add is John has been busy man with our Twitter feed, if that's how you say it, John, right? I'm trying to learn the Twitter lingo. I got a lot of pushback last week when I said tweet us out, okay? So I'm trying to get into the cool lingo with you guys on Twitter. So our Twitter feed is NDads After Dark, right? So make sure you go find us. John is posting polls and questions and everything there. Touche to John, because it's not me. I'll put my hands up. Guilty. It's all John. So if you have any issues, blame John. But if you like it, you can also thank John. But what do we have going on the next couple of weeks before we wrap this up?
Well, we got a bit of breaking news while we've been doing the show. The Wonderful 101 remaster Kickstarter actually kicked off.
Oh.
This is Platinum putting together a Kickstarter. I think we mentioned it earlier,
Mhm.
which is really interesting because Platinum's a major company, but I think they wanted to gauge interest in a port of their Wii U game. And this is a game I've been wanting on the Switch because I've never been able to play it. But the Kickstarter launched, and in the span of our show, actually reached its goal. It's already
Incredible.
reached its goal. There's over 4,000 backers.
Wow.
They've got like $250,000 already. But here's the best news that really caught me off guard. The game is done. It's coming out in April.
That's incredible.
This isn't like a Kickstarter where they had to actually do it. This is a Kickstarter which is just them selling it. So it's done, and it's going to come to the Switch, I believe, in April. It's also getting a port to the PS4, which is really cool. I think this was an exclusive to Nintendo, and Nintendo basically gave them the permission to put it on other platforms. I think like a lot of Wii U games, it didn't sell all that well, but it's a great game, and they wanted Platinum to be able to sell it. So that's great news. And Steam, it's coming to Steam.
Wasn't that one of your 2020 desires?
Yes, it was.
Crazy. That is crazy. That's awesome.
And it's great because it's not a game that I played and want to play again. This is a game I never played. So that came out February 6th, which is this Thursday. The Wargroove DLC comes out. There's going to be co-op campaigns. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be awesome. New, not only like new COs, but like new characters, new fighters.
How much is that?
It's absolutely free. Totally free.
I'm there.
It's really great job.
Freeze for me.
And then, and I think we're going to be doing some co-op, aren't we? Right?
I think we have to.
I think we have to get the headphones. And then a week after that, the big one, Fire Emblem DLC, The Cindered Shadows comes out, the fourth house of Fire Emblem. That's really why I'm playing through the Blue Lions right now. So I have about a week and a half to finish my second playthrough. Can't wait for that one.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that news. And remember, guys, everybody head to our feed and make sure you check out the monthly Mayhem recap video, as well as the introduction of, podcast. And make sure you also listen to that for the introduction of what we're doing in February. It's super cool. We're super excited. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a little bit competitive. So make sure you check that out. And as always, we want to thank everybody for listening. And good night, dads.
Good night, dads.